So check me out. I also found a 3-way switch so that I am connected to both my narrowband and my wideband at the same time, ECU wire. Right now I'm running off narrowband. This is what I mean when I say 0.5 equals stoich. It's aiming for 14.7. That's just what it runs at. That's stoichiometric. We're at 146 degrees Fahrenheit. 146 degrees Fahrenheit. This thing adjusts at 130. Fuel trims start to adjust at 130. Watch when I click over to the wideband. Now it's going to run lean. We're going to run into the settings. We're going to configure it because I had to reset everything. Watch this. I'm going to flip. You see how it's now changed the way the bike runs? You can hear the bike. Doesn't like that much. We're going to go back to narrowband. Go back to 14.7, give us some time. So now, switching between narrowband, wideband with it set up like this will fuck up fuel trim, so I'm going to reset my ECM after this, but let me show you what I mean in the settings as to why I'm using this or why I even have a wideband hooked up to my ECU with the narrowband hooked up like this. I'm going to show you guys what this does when you know how to configure your wideband to emulate your narrowband and how you can manipulate that to get the ECM to run how you want it to run. In other words, this will create Autotune. Let's get to the settings. Alright, so here we are. This is LM Programmer. We're going to go to the analog out. Right now my settings are all over the place as I suspected because this thing's going full lean and it's doing the reverse of what it should be doing. You'll see that in the correlation. This is the graph that I talk about so much. There's a line correlation, a voltage to AFR correlation. That's what I'm talking about. So 0 volts and 5 volts. We're going to program 1 volt to equal, that's going to be full rich. We want 12.8, right? Then on here for 0 volts, we're going to program 14. Now, if I were to do this just like so, we have to first find out what in between is for 12.8 and 14.0. So we figure out 12.8 minus 14, and we're going to get 1.2, divide that by 2, so that's 0.6. So we add 12.6 to 12.8. 12.8 plus 0.6. That's going to mean that we're going to idle around 13.4. That's going to be stoichiometric to the ECU is going to be 13.4. Anything lower, we're going to add another 0.6. That's going to be 14. So I actually never ran this kind of a setup like this. I had this previously set with 3 volts there, 0 volts here, 3 volts being 10.0.3, and this being 1399, aka 14. So mine used to look something like this. I did this so that I have more resolution for the ECM to see, because I feel with the narrowband, 1 volt could be 10, it could be 9, it could be 8, it could be 7 AFR. I don't know. Personally, I don't know. I don't know what Honda decided to go with 1 volt equating to, but I know that they made 4.5 volts with the sensor, with the way that the cylinder head is tuned, with the way that this blows air stock. They made it that 0.5 is stoichiometric, I guess. I'm not sure how they made that to equate, because this generates its own voltage. You put a little lighter to it and it'll generate 1 volt. So how they made 0.5 equals 14.7 has to be, I feel, a physical, something physical in there. There's like the physical dimension of the O2 sensor must be that it only allows a certain amount of air to pass and generate 0.5 volts. That's what I'm coming to figure right now. I honestly don't know how else. So we're gonna try to use that information, the way that they programmed it into the ECU, to our advantage. 0.5 volts is stoichiometric. Well, not no more. It's not gonna be 14.7. So with this setup, how it was, we're gonna figure first the excess, because we're using 3 volts. We'll first take the 10.3, we'll minus 14 from 10.3, and we're left with a AFR range of 3.7. Now 3.7 divided in thirds, it's going to be 1.2333, and that's so on and so forth. We'll just go 1.233. That's going to be for every volt increase, we're going to have 1.233 AFR increase. 1.233 plus 10.3 will equal 11.533. 3 volts is going to be 10.5. 2 volts is going to be 11.533. 1 volt, this is the important part, plus 12, or 1.233, 12.766. Dyno proven numbers for the Grom to make maximum power is 12.8 to 13.0. That's a range. 13.3 is also acceptable to 12.8. This is 12.6. Anything after 12 and you start losing power. So what about 0.5, because this thing aims for 0.5? Well, instead of 1.33, we do half. 1.233 divided by 2 is 0.6165. We add that over here, 0.6165. And 0.5 would be 13.3 stoichiometric with this setup. What this will have the ECM do is aim for 12.8 at full throttle when it's properly adjusted, once the fuel trims have properly adjusted. Moving on. Instead of using the previously discussed AFRs, I'm going to go with these, being I broke these down so that you guys can see what it does. So the previous settings we'll do is in the same essence without the excess, that 2-3 volt excess that it would generate. We'll go 12.8 minus 13.3 or 99, we'll go 14. 12.8 minus 14 gives us, of course, there's that number, 1.2. Now, you see how there's not 1.2333333? This is it has less resolution using this because it doesn't go down to the, millionth decimal. This is just 1.2. Divide that by 2, and in the between is 6. You've seen that? It's not 6.6165. It's just 0.6. Add that to 12.8. Our in between is 13.4. Add it again, and you'll see 14. So we don't have to buy a tuner and make it do all that extra shit with the tuner AFR and Autotune, We just get one of these because we're gonna want to run one of these anyways, and make it work to our advantage. We have the stock ECM. There's no tuner on this. Yes, don't mind the rust. I know, I write all year. Anyway, this is gonna be without the excess. It's the same values you would achieve without the excess. I'll go excess because I like knowing that my ECM has something to look at to know that it's over on AFRs and voltage. Let's see what it does. Here we go. Start up. So right now we are on the narrowband position. We're gonna see 14.7. We're still over 130, 145. So we should be seeing 14.7, at least trying to aim for it. Sounding of it, it's already there. It's getting there. Now we have a single cylinder. Why isn't it stuck at 14.7? Because air rushes back in for every pulse that comes out, for every reaction. To pressure wave, as that's forced out, there's a low pressure vacuum going in behind that pressure wave. That's your scavenge. That's the the pushback with resonance of the pipe. The pipe itself vibrates. That vibration helps push all that shit back inside. Now, let's see what this does when we flick from narrowband to wideband. Narrowband, wideband. Bam. You hear the whole idle change? That's how it should have idled on that New York City ride. Wideband's in. Fuck yeah. I was having issues this whole time. I just thought to make it a learning experience for everyone else to fix the shit. There is no tuner. It's just the wideband. And an upgraded injector to help compensate for the extra air coming in from the cam, because I don't have a way of making it squirt more fuel. Other than this, of course, but there are limitations for what the ECM decides that it wants to push. That's why I gave it a physical upgrade, more bigger holes. The ECM can't tell that it has bigger holes. All it can do is retract the fuel to try to get the voltage right. That's it. When you learn these kinds of things, you can manipulate it and make it do what you want. You want to have timing advancement, you come over here to your timing pickup. You see how I got two mount holes? Those two mount holes are positioned at a specific position relative to the flywheel in degrees, right? We measure rotation in degrees. We don't measure rotation in circumference. Well, if I move that, if I clock it over 2 degrees, 3 degrees, 4 degrees, I could get 2 degrees, 3 degrees, 4 degrees of ignition advancement or retardation. We can literally clock the timing from the position of the pickup to get more advance or get more retard. That's as simple as just getting a drill bit. Call it jank all you want. I literally just tuned it right here on the fly. 13.4, 13.3 stoic. Ugh. So it's going to be a little lean. Fuel trims are a little, but that's okay. Right now it's aiming for that. And you've seen how I went to 12 instead of 15 that time. It's aiming, it's looking, it's trying. It's just fuel trims. Ooh, that little pop though. Hell yeah. That's how you tune an ECM. You learn about it. Stay tuned.